Thanksgiving week. This is the time of year that we are intentional about gratitude, and we're thankful for the material blessings and also for the people in our lives. As I've shared before, and as Lynn just shared, I am thankful for Toastmasters, for this club, for all of you. I'm thankful for the opportunities that participating in Toastmasters has given me to grow in confidence and public speaking and in leadership. And I'm particularly grateful this morning for my mentor, none other than Kelly Faluca. As you've already seen here this morning with our induction mentorship ceremony, Toastmaster takes the mentor-protege model very seriously and encourages new members to take on a mentor to help them navigate Toastmasters and develop their public speaking skills. And this makes sense because mentors are incredibly useful in helping us navigate life, demonstrating the way, and most importantly, perhaps, encouraging us. Have you ever needed encouragement? I mean, really, really needed encouragement? Well, on the morning of May 25th, 2009, I was exhausted. I had been running for hours and hours, and at this point, I was running, stumbling, walking through the last few miles of the Los Angeles Marathon, and I had hit what runners call the mental wall. I was starting to feel a little confused. I was in a neighborhood I'd never run before, and I was surrounded by crowds of people. And I wondered if I was ever going to finish. And then I heard my name, Theresa! And I looked up and I saw my friend Greg and his wife Julie, who was a high school math teacher, and they were running towards me and they jumped into the street, one on either side of me, and Greg said, "How are you doing?" And I was like, "Not great." And he said, "Look up. Do you see those buildings? That's downtown Los Angeles. That is the end. That's the finish line. You're almost there. You can do it." And so, you know what? I persevered. I kept on running. I pushed through the pain and I crossed the finish line. And in a way, it changed my life. That's what I wanted to say. A word of encouragement can change somebody's life. Now, when I joined Toastmasters, I learned that I needed a mentor. So I looked around the room and I chose the person with the biggest smile, of course, Kelly. At that time, I was a little overwhelmed by all the Toastmaster emails. I was confused by the Pathways program. I was intimidated by the idea of taking on meeting roles, and I was terrified of actually giving a speech. Now, Kelly offered to meet me outside of Toastmasters, and we went out for brunch. And I told her why I had joined Toastmasters, and she listened to my story, and then she shared her story of how she had overcome and what she was still overcoming. Then over the next few weeks, she walked me through the Pathways program, helping me identify what was important and what was just extra information. I remember her scrolling through the Pathways program on her screen saying, "Don't worry about this. Don't worry about this. Now just do this right here." And she helped me with practical advice too. She told me that I needed more light on my face and a better microphone so I'd sound professional and have the right ambience. She taught me how to do these background slides that you see behind me. And when I was preparing for my first speech, she listened to me go through it. She offered me advice and she gave me an avalanche of encouragement when it came to my first Toastmasters meeting. And she also encouraged me to take on meeting roles and even an officer's position when it came up. And in March, when I was invited to speak at another Toastmasters group and I was feeling not very confident about it, she encouraged me to take the opportunity. And she offered to go with me. Even though it was on a Monday night, about 45 minutes from her house, she actually met me in Kirkland. She noticed that I was feeling stressed out and she drove me to the meeting. It was like having my own personal cheerleader. Like my friends in Los Angeles back in 2009, Kelly didn't just cheer from the sidelines. She jumped into the street and ran with me. Now, I said earlier that that moment in LA changed my life, and it did. It gave me an unforgettable memory of finishing that has helped me propel me through many difficult tasks, like writing my master's thesis and finishing my first novel. But that moment actually changed my life in another way too, because I realized that Julie and Greg weren't just super encouragers. They were also mentors. They worked with a group called Students Run LA. And that morning of the marathon, they were actually standing on the side of the road waiting for their students to pass by because They volunteered as mentors at an after-school running club at Julie's school where she taught math. They met kids every week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday morning from September until the marathon in the spring. And the high school where Julie taught, like many high schools in LA Unified School District, had a dropout rate of 50%. The kids in her class dealt with poverty, immigration issues, neighborhood crime, and almost anything else that you can imagine. So Greg and Julie taught the kids running techniques, core exercises, strength training, and their church community gave the kids food, and Students Run LA made sure that the kids all had a pair of running shoes. But more than anything, Greg and Julie stayed consistent in these kids' lives, showing up for them month after month, encouraging and giving them skills they needed to push through difficult things. And you know what? It worked. Over the years, on average, 98% of the kids who finished the marathon also graduated from high school. And, that inspired me. And so I decided I also wanted to be a mentor with Students Run LA. So I became a mentor and I ran another 4 marathons with the kids from South LA. And the experience honestly changed my life. If you are a mentor here today, please understand that you have a tremendous opportunity to be a blessing in your protege's life. You can be the one to jump into the street and run a few paces with someone. So I want to say to all the mentors in the room today, thank you for serving. And Kelly, thank you for being my mentor. Madam Toastmaster.